Hey friends, welcome back to another video. Today we are looking at decluttering my whole life to move abroad, part 2. Okay, so if you missed part 1, here's where we're at. We went through all of my clothes and decided what to get rid of, what to donate, what to sell, and what to keep. I also packed away a lot of my summer clothes to, hopefully, fingers crossed, put it straight into a suitcase so that I can bring them out next year when I have finally moved abroad. We also went through all of my books, which if you know me, you know I have plenty. I put them into different piles. I sold quite a few of them. I also put them into a donation pile, which I knew were going to be read and used by a specific organisation that wanted climate change, for example, books. And in today's video, I finally pack them up and send them off and get them onto their new life. Well, decluttering is actually a surprisingly sweaty job for me, especially when the weather is pretending to be autumn, but actually it's still quite warm. So I want to say a massive thank you to Wild for sponsoring today's video. I've actually been using Wild since last October, so we are coming up to our 1-year anniversary. If you've never heard of Wild before, it's a reusable deodorant, and this one is an electric blue case with a rhubarb and raspberry scent. You'd be surprised at how much it smells like those refresher sweets that we used to have when we were kids. I think they're still around, but I just love the smell. I can definitely say that after using this deodorant for a year now, natural deodorant certainly works for me, and I love their subscription element, and it's just very convenient and hassle-free. But if you want to know more, they have 7,000 Trustpilot reviews, so you can check it out if you want to just know a little bit more about whether this deodorant will work for you. So if you are interested in trying any of the Wild products, you can use the code IMILOVES to get 20% off your Wild products. I will leave the link in the description. We did a lot of organising last time in part 1, which I'll put down below if you haven't checked it out. But today we need to actually take things to be... I messed up, but okay. So I basically messed up the book situation. I thought they were going to be collected, and then I need to go and drop them off. So I've packaged them up to go and be dropped off because, as I said, I'm selling a lot of my books because I don't need to have them here, and I'm trying to make sure they're all on my e-reader if I am going to use them. So we're going to go and take those, and then we're going to sort out a lot of the other stuff that I have to see what I'm going to do with it. So we will take the books first. Okay, we have my 2 boxes here, which I showed you in the last video with the right thing on them now, and also this box that I'm going to donate. So we're going to go and get rid of them now. I am back from dropping off my books. I sold most of them, and then the others I donated them to a specific book bank. If you watched my last video, you know that I wasn't sure if I was going to keep my granny's bag, but I found somewhere that's actually going to repair the inside for me because, as I said, the lining was completely broken. And to be honest, I do love this bag. I'm going to a press evening tomorrow. One of my friends is playing in the orchestra for a new West End show, so we're going to go to that, and I'm going to wear this and see how I like it. I think it's important to take things out for one last spin if you're on the fence. I know a lot of you said if you're on the fence then it's a definite no, but I used to wear this all the time, and I just happened to put it in a drawer that I just didn't see it. So I think I'm going to give it an outing just one more time. And I think that's one of the best things about decluttering slowly and sustainably. Like, that's one of the best things, because then you can actually take time to think about the stuff that you are going to get rid of. I would hate to get rid of something that I regret and actually would love. I mean, this bag is so old, and it's like genuine vintage, and it's a really beautiful bag, and it was my granny's, so I'm going to give it another outing and double check, but I'm probably going to keep it because it's pretty nice. Another bag that I did have was this one that I talked about that I'm definitely getting rid of. I'm actually just packaging it up now to send it off. This is why it's really great to save things if you ever buy stuff online, or if people in your house do, like mine do. So I've got a packaging thing that I can reuse. I can just shove it straight in here and send that off. I'll probably send that off tomorrow. But honestly, it should feel a relief when you move things on, because you don't want to be getting rid of stuff that you really want to keep. I have a lot of jumpers, and I keep thinking I really shouldn't keep all of them, but I do use all of them, so it just doesn't make sense to get rid of them, you know. I got rid of, I think, a couple, but yeah, I'm keeping the majority of those. Okay, so we've done our clothes. I actually managed to get rid of 2 pairs of shoes as well. I gave them to a friend. One was a pair of trail running shoes, and one was just a pair of trainers that definitely needed a new home. So I was really, really happy to get rid of those. I don't like the phrase get rid of, because I'm not really getting rid of. I'm passing them on, giving them a new life. And again, that's what I said about, you know, doing things sustainably, finding things good homes, because I just would hate for these things to go to waste just because they no longer serve my needs. One thing also you might actually be surprised about, but is I've decided to get rid of this dress, and it just made me reevaluate how much I do love it, because I remember buying it thinking it was one of the only options that I could get for this wedding that I was going to, and I think it's in great condition and maybe someone else could get a lot more use out of it. So I think I've actually decided to get rid of this one. I'm being really cutthroat, I tell ya. Okay, electronics. I will 100% have a lot more tech than most people because I film stuff. So I have this camera, I got this camera secondhand from Camera Jungle. If you're ever looking for camera gear and you live in the UK, Camera Jungle is such a good place to get it. This is a Canon 5D and I got it for literally hundreds of pounds cheaper because this camera is not cheap. So this is definitely, I'm on the fence about. This is something I might sell. So this is a drone and this is a drone bag with all the kind of stuff in it. I also have a case for my microphone. That's really important because the microphone is very delicate and is expensive and I don't want to ruin that, so I've got that as well. I've got my camera bag. I've had this one since the very beginning, since I first bought my first camera. I've had this camera bag, so I mean it's not the coolest or the prettiest, but that doesn't matter, so we're keeping that. I have this tripod, so even though this is shit, it still serves a very good purpose. I have my Fujifilm camera. Again, I got this secondhand from Camera Jungle. This is a really lovely little camera. It's very, very, very light. It's mirrorless. It's very different from the Canon and from this Sony camera. But I think the picture quality of this is really beautiful. It's also super light. I filmed my entire trip on the Appalachian Trail with this camera. It's annoying to film because even though it has a little thing here where you can put a microphone on top, you have to have a separate jack, 2.5mm instead of a 3.5mm, so you have to have a cable because I'm not going to buy a separate one, and that's a whole thing. But this camera is really lovely. It definitely doesn't get as much use as it should, but it's just a lightweight, it's a really lovely I'm a huge fan of this camera, to be honest. Big fan. Okay, so here are a couple smaller things that I'm on the fence about. So I've got my GoPro. This was super handy when I was doing my bikepacking trip. If you didn't see that, I cycled 130 kilometers in 2 days alone. I'll link that down below if you're interested in checking it out. But I use this a lot for filming because it's got a little bit of a selfie stick. But yeah, I don't get enough use out of this to warrant keeping this, even though I did use it, because it's too similar to the DJI Osmo Pocket. So you got these two. These two are too similar. This one is so fun. Look at this. And this shoots in 4K. The last couple of things I have in here are just two external batteries, but I need both of these because it turns out I need a lot of batteries. So yeah, I've got two of these. So I went to a 30th birthday last weekend the weekend just been, and I don't really have much going out stuff anymore. Like I do have a couple of things, but I wanted to make it more of a special occasion. But as I'm decluttering, I wanted to find a more sustainable option, so I actually ended up renting a dress. If you don't follow me on Instagram, you might have missed my reel. I will leave the link down below if you want to check it out. But this is the dress that I rented, and I actually have to go and drop it back off at the post office so that it can go back. And I wanted to show you how they do it because I use it in reusable packaging. And I just thought this was a really good idea for those of you, who want to be a bit more sustainable, not buying a new outfit when you go out, or even if you don't want to buy something secondhand because you might only wear it a couple of times. Renting, I think, can be a really good option. This is the first time I've ever done it, so my experience has been really good so far. And yeah, I'm going to package it up, show you the package, and then take the other bag as well that I'm sending off to the post office. So in case any of you are wondering or you're interested, I rented this dress from Her, H-U-R-R. It's a UK-based brand or company, and they only do it in the UK, obviously, to make it more sustainable. And they use this reusable packaging, which is pretty amazing. And then I just packaged up the bag that I was sending off to someone and took them to the post office. I can't even tell you how sick I am of listening to my own voice talk about how something is not good, not being used enough, and therefore I am selling it. This is really indicative of the time, maybe a couple of years ago, where I became a little bit more materialistic. Maybe a couple of years ago, maybe it was last year. I think I've admitted this to you guys before. Maybe it was because of lockdown. And that's one of the reasons why I said I wasn't going to buy any new tech. And it's because I clearly have enough. And yes, it becomes a hobby at some point where you kind of collect maybe a few extra things that you don't necessarily need, but you would like to add. But it's quite clearly got quite silly. And I have things that are very similar, and that's why I'm selling them. But it's a great learning experience to be like, wow, Amy, very privileged to be able to buy the things that you want and then choose to sell them. It's also been a very stressful day. I've been reading everything about Sarah Everard and everything that's happening in the news with the sentencing and the way that the Met Police have responded about it and the language that the media uses to describe the man in question, as well as Sarah Everard, as well as victims. And I don't know, it's just made me very stressed and very sad. Anyway, the next stage in this decluttering process is, I think, to do a deep clean of this space. I need to vacuum. God knows when the last time I vacuumed in here. The spiders have all moved in. Also because I was feeling very stressed and sad earlier, I went out and bought Sally Rooney's new book. But I'm going to read that and then I'm going to pass it on to a friend who I know wants it. But that's what I do now when I'm like sad or stressed or whatever. I emotionally buy books. So it could be worse. I won't lie, it could be worse. Anyway, I didn't mean for this video to end on this kind of note. The next stage, I think, is to deep clean my entire space and then really think about all the little bits. As I said before, it's really important to declutter slowly and sustainably. You don't want to get rid of things that you actually want to keep or are really sentimental for very good reasons, or, you know, things that you actually value. It also means you'll do it much more sensibly. So I've been able to give things to proper homes. I've been able to donate books to proper places. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that this process, being very slow, is not too boring. Usually these videos are actually just good for me because they're good for me to be able to just chat to you a bit more, being more of a chatty video, as well as actually getting stuff done. So thank you. You've enabled me to declutter more. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I will hopefully see you soon. Bye.